Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Digital Things, where we at Trinnex like to discuss the challenges faced by water and wastewater professionals, and also the digital solutions that can help to solve these challenges. The topic of discussion for today is using effective communications to build public trust in light of the recently released EPA's lead and copper rule improvements, and also in light of the EPA's October 16th initial inventory deadline having just passed. So I'm joined today by two experts on this topic, Rose Hanson, a strategic communications lead at CDM Smith, and also Aaron Englehart, a product management specialist at Trinnex. So thank you both for joining us today. Rose, I'll ask you the first question here. How has CDM Smith used its expertise to improve public communication and education around these topics as it relates to LCRR and LCRI?
So first of all, we know what's required, right? We understand what's required in the LCRR, for example, the 30-day notifications that a lot of utilities are working their way through right now. And our goal is to apply strategic communications best practices to those requirements and to other communications that may make sense within the context of a lead service line program. So an example of that would be providing a flyer with the 30-day notifications that explains kind of what's going on, what people need to pay attention to, that isn't 3 pages that are a direct wall of text, which is required but not great for people actually understanding what's going on. Another good example is there's about 45 at least required communications within the LCRI that was just pre-published. And our goal is to use strategic communications practices like checking readability levels, using graphics, making sure things are very clear steps to satisfy those requirements while also empowering people to feel like they have an action they can take to protect their own health.
Great. Thank you, Rose. I love that about empowering people to protect their own health, because that's at the end of the day what it's all about. Aaron, I would love to hear your perspective too. How does Trinnex's digital platform LEDcast support these public communication efforts?
Yeah, so there's two main items I want to talk about today. The first is the unknown lead and GRR mailers that are currently going out following the October 16th inventory deadline. So within LEDcast, we support taking a utilities inventory, figuring out which properties need to receive a mailer, and then taking that list and actually running it all the way through letter creation, through mailing and delivery of those letters to residents. Once they have been delivered, we're also able to provide the utility with proof of postmark and delivery so that they have defensible records going forward. The second area that LEDcast is really powerful in is our touchpoint tracking feature. This is a feature that allows utilities to record any outreach efforts with residents. So whether that's sending a flyer or a mailer, physically going and knocking on a door and having a conversation, or maybe a resident calling into a support center and speaking with the utility, we can take notes on that interaction. Right? If a resident calls in and says that they received a letter saying they have an unknown line and they have a young infant at home and they kind of express some concern, we'd be able to take notes on that so that any future inspection program could prioritize that home, because we know lead disproportionately affects young people. Or maybe somebody calls in and says that they need to have their documentation given to them in another language. We can take down notes on that and understand what language preference they have so that in the future we can communicate with them how they want to be communicated with. So it really enables utilities to kind of bring a holistic picture of the resident together and communicate with them in the way that makes the most sense and is the most effective.
Great. Thank you, Aaron. Now, bringing it together a little bit, I'd love to hear from both of you. How has CDM Smith and Trinnex collaborated to successfully integrate communications expertise with digital solutions to improve public awareness and compliance as it relates to LCRR and LCRI? Rose, do you want to start?
I love this question because it's really rare that you're able to help develop the software that's going to help you. And that's exactly what we did with Trinnex. So we knew that communications events needed to be logged attached to an address. We saw the writing on the wall. We saw that 4 attempts were going to be required likely by the LCRI. That has now come to fruition. And so we said, hey, Trinnex, we we need to track communications events. Like, what can we do for this? And we work together to create this event tracking that covers all the bases. So not only does it just say, yes, we did it, it lets us put in those notes. It lets us create this human profile that Aaron was talking about that really helps inform our engagement. And it's giving us more data to make way more informed decisions about what type of outreach is working and what type of outreach isn't working.
Yeah, I think one thing that it's been really interesting to see is how you're able to take the data from LEDcast and really analyze it in different ways to understand, should we do another round of mailers in this neighborhood, or maybe should we send somebody out to go knock on doors so we can reach the person in the most effective way. So we've tried to support that with touchpoint tracking by having all of the different parameters that might be relevant to then do data analysis and decision making on. And it's been a fun journey to see how it's used and how it's made a difference in communication programs.
Yeah, and the cool thing is it's still a journey, right? We went from being like, oh, we can track this to like, oh, we can tell you right away if sending a postcard is going to be effective or not within 30 minutes of downloading and analyzing this data. And we continue to improve it. So as we see needs come up, as we understand more about what the LCRI is going to require, we continue to work together to make sure that it's a useful tool, an evolving tool that helps our clients better track communications, better make decisions.
Absolutely.
That's great. That's great. Thank you both. Excellent examples of what can happen when you combine the communications expertise and the power of digital solutions. So thank you both for joining today, Rose and Aaron, and I hope you all enjoy this episode.
Thank you.